joined Ford, we were both in New Orleans for a conference, and I was speaking, and I came out, and the minute I came down, there was this extremely friendly, smiling face approaching, and I was wondering who this guy was. And he said, "Oh, hi, I'm Roopak. I'm about to join Ford." And then we chatted for a while. And then he joined Ford. And I hadn't seen him for a while after he joined. And then Mike came around one time to me and said, "Hey, this guy's just joined Ford. Do you mind seeing him now and then to help him out?" Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
You guys were doing this 50-page PowerPoint presentations and stuff like that. So I started to see Roopak regularly. And then, every 2 or 3 months we would meet up, and I'd help him navigate the world of Ford and so on. And then I moved out away from Ford, and he went to India. And the thing about Roopak that I think everyone just talked about here is that his desire to be a friend to people, in the sense that he would be in India, he would come here, he would call me saying I'm over, and then we'd go for a drink. And I have this wonderful memories of sitting at Conor O'Neill having a beer with him, or Wolverine Place having a beer with him, eating and talking about children, about Preeti, about work and everything else. And one thing that it really struck me about the friendship part and the influence he had on people was that he was in Cologne. I had gone to England and a director of Systems of Photo Europe during 80s and early 90s had passed away. So I was at a funeral there in England. And a lot of people had come, mainly Ford retirees. And after a while at the funeral, we were chatting and so on. And a number of people came up to me, including Ford retirees, who said, "Hey, there's this guy in Cologne who is the IT guy there for Europe. Do you know of him?" And I said, "Yeah, I know Roopak." And what was amazing was here we're at someone else's funeral, but the conversation started to turn about Roopak and what he was and how he just managed to find a way to be, and it's a horrible word, it's a strange word, but nice to people. Do you know what I mean? That people wanted to know him, people wanted to know of him. And that, to me, I was thinking, how could you have someone who, and retirees can be, people who just complain about everything else going all the time. And yet they wanted to talk about this guy who just come over from America and was in Cologne. A number of other Ford people who were still working in Wally at that time, wanted to know more about Roopak and what he was like. And they all had these wonderful, positive things to say about him. The other thing I wanted to say was, I think it came up earlier as well, that guy had an incredible brain. And I think, by the way, these two have inherited a lot of the genes.
I also have.
He would take these complex things and make them so simple for you to understand, and it's not an easy thing to do. Many of us know about these things. But he had that capacity to think big, but, bring it down to some core things that you go, wow, how did he manage to do that? And so I always remember this thing that, I'd left Ford a long time ago, but he kept in touch, wanted to see every time he came over. But I think the other thing I wanted to say was about how much he loved this too, and Preeti, really. And his delight at every little successes that you guys had. I remember, I think you guys had come around to our house and you were playing the guitar and you were playing the keyboard, or the other way around. I forget which way it was. And the smile on his face was just sort of, one of the Joker sort of smiles about the pleasure that he had about the two. And then when it was actually your high school graduation downstairs, right? He went on and on about your AP grades and the AP classes and what you were doing. And then the other time, I think the pleasure he took from both of you was when he was in Cologne, he would say to me that you would call him about problems with calc or algebra, or whatever the heck it was at that time, and help you solve those problems. But he really enjoyed that. And I remember Akash, that I think you were at Skyline and you joined the band and were up north, you know, wherever that.
We saw you.
Yeah, and there's Akash marching for the first time, and
Yes.
again the smile on Rupak's face, you know, to see his wonderful children growing up, and I know he was very, very proud to come to that graduation, despite him not being well as well. I think it's truly remarkable guy that so many people, I remember at the funeral, the messages of support from everywhere, right? Everywhere. And it's remarkable, someone can have so much power over someone in the ability to make friends with people and to be nice to people in every way as well. I think it really is a tribute to this wonderful guy that we're remembering now. Thank you.
I have a